Well, the Ghana Police Service is warning constituency executives against deviant behaviors during the conduct of this constituency polls across the country. Director of the operations at the Police Service, DCOP Mohammed Suraj, who is in charge of the Abulikuma North constituency elections, observed that any party member who fails to comply with the rules will be made to face the law. Speaking to JoyNews, he indicated that the police has revised its security arrangement to ensure law and order during the conduct of the constituency polls.
As you rightly said, when you plan, you always go back to revise the operation to suit the demands. We have information that this constituency has a record of, violence in the past, or it's a hotspot. So we decided to plan accordingly by taking security measures proactively. As you can see, we've deployed to secure the venue where the election will take place. And even before coming at the junction, you saw our motorbikes also deployed. And then the combat teams from the Accra region and then the National Operation Department working together to ensure that there's also orderly parking of cars, there's good access, and also working with the chairman of the committee here, and the two municipal chief executives are also here, the electoral officers are also here, and the MPs. We are now inviting the coordinators.
Okay.
So what we want to do is engagement. We want all stakeholders to have a meeting with us. Security is a collective and shared responsibility. So police are here to ensure the security, but we can't do that effectively without, having a coordinative meeting with all the stakeholders. As you can actually see, they are here. The district commander. We will just engage them to play by the rules. Ensure that no motorbikes are allowed 100 meters radius from here, and they are complying. No cars should park within here. Contestants can come and alight, and then the vehicles move, except police vehicles. And all the aspirants will be brought in by their coordinators. Sequence. You don't come in. All other people who are not wanted, they will be politely told to leave. And the implications of any actions they may take, which is infraction of the law. So we're doing this engagement first before taking action. And that is exactly what you saw.
Okay, now finally, one would ask that yesterday at Bobuashi, it was a chaotic scene. How is the police seeking to ensure there is peace and order? Is there an assurance that here at Odoko there will be peace and order?
It will. It will. You cannot have absolute election without some sort of infraction. It's a human institution. But however, as you saw, 4 arrests were made currently at Accra region, and action is being taken. You'll be surprised to know that most of them were party executives.
Right.
I would have wished that as executives they would have served, good conduct, worthy of emulation. And so that's why I made appeal here to the coordinators. We've revised our notes, and we are engaging the party to be responsible and be accountable and ensure that their men play by the rules. If you don't, we'll take appropriate action.
Thank you very much.
Let's stay with the MPP elections. 8 of 9 MPP executives in the Subin constituency have maintained their seats. This follows a chaotic start of the polls yesterday. Some aspirants who attempted to block the election accused the party's leadership of breaching internal processes to hold a delegate conference. Nanaya Ojima filed this report from Kumasi.
Yesterday, there was a meeting. They called that meeting emergency meeting. What emergency meeting was that? The emergency was we have to hold the elections tomorrow. Not giving a chance to speak to one delegate. No, I don't have the album. And I don't even have a polling agent, all right, to write my results for me. Okay, so how do I go on? Is that the way in elections are conducted in our system in NPP? No, that's not the way. Not a single delegate, not been given the chance to speak to one delegate, okay? I just had the chance this morning to enter one of the buses, all right, to speak to the delegates, okay? And that's about it. I mean, is that the way elections are conducted? The election, to conduct election, doesn't fall on just one day, the day that you're going to vote. No, it goes through a lot of processing, and the major role, all right, in that process is your campaign. Okay, that's where you know that yes, I have done work, all right, that is going to put me here or there.
So that's Nana Aljimen's report from Kumasi there. Now, let's talk about the constitutional review, because yesterday the president spoke about 30 years of the coming into force of this particular constitution, and some experts have been speaking about why there's need for us to review the current constitution in its nature. Dr. Abu Sakar Foster, who is a former CPP's flag bearer, has been sharing his thought on the constitution in its current form.
Things we're talking about, equality, justice, continuity, etc., are the same things that they're talking about. I mean, there's not a significantly radical way of writing the constitution that is going to be so different. The framework will be basically the same, but some key areas that we have found problems with would change. And those areas are many. We probably wouldn't be able to do all of them at one sitting. And what we have said basically is that this is a growing tree, and it's going to branch out, but you cannot do away with the stem of the tree. You can have new branches, but you can't just cut the stem out and let the stems exist by themselves. The branches exist by themselves. So we want to see a progressive but comprehensive reform of the Constitution that identifies the key things that we want to see achieved and bequeath to a younger generation. And if we do that in the correct way, I think we'll be not only fulfilling the demands of our generation, but we'll also be lifting the ceiling for a younger generation to not only rise higher than us, but also rise faster than us.
Vice President Wotimani Ghana, Mr. Kofi Bentil, also suggests that there is need for us to take a review of the Constitution.
So that the Constitutional Review Commission, much as it came out of a good place, it was an effort that was based on a popular sentiment. We all wanted something done about the Constitution. The Review Commission is set up, its legal basis and other things were questionable. And what some of us feared was that you can go all the way and then you will hit the snag because it really cannot affect the change we want. Effectively, what the Constitutional Review Commission did was collect views about what should be amended in the Constitution. What we want is for us to move from there to do the actual amendment. So it is time to look at constitutional review, but not necessarily time to go back and do another commission or take the commission and drive it. There are processes and ways by which we can do it. And I think it's time for us to sit down, do it right, and get it over with. And I totally agree that indeed there are a number of things that we need to review in this Constitution, okay? And we should give ourselves a certain timeline to do it. 30 years is a long time, okay? Definitely one of them is the election of district chief executives and municipal chief executives. If we cannot take accountability of political heads down to the grassroots, we are not doing well in this democracy. There are other things also. For instance, we need to absolutely amend Article 71. We need to make sure that what Article 71 represents, which is really wrong, is removed, because that, I have said, constitutes a threat to this democracy. Article 71, put in another sense, is the elite organizing for themselves a way to escape the common reality of the average Ghanaian. Go and look at what it says in Article 71. And that is why we are discussing wages and salaries, the disparity in wages and salaries today, where you have some people earning a lot of money, leaving the rest behind.
Now, the two prime suspects in the alleged diversion of Premix fuel in the Keta municipality of the Volta region will be arraigned before the court, hopefully on Wednesday, 4th May 2022. The administrator of the National Premix Secretariat, Nana Abroko Asare, disclosed this to the media on Thursday in Keta. The Nokpesokwepe Landing Beach Committee Secretary Geoffrey James Oklu and a Goodness Energy tanker driver were picked up on Tuesday after some Keta residents raised red flags of a suspected diversion. According to Mr. Abroko, the police had commenced investigations into the incident and would make available their findings, which would determine the course of the court case.
Police have begun their investigations. Investigations have not been concluded. Hopefully on Wednesday, the driver and his mates will be processed for court. So we await the security agencies to give us the outcome of the investigations. That is when we can ascertain whether actually the driver intended to divert the product or not. So I must state on record that when we came around, everything was in the truck. Nothing was touched. So we are in the process of distributing all the fuel for the fisher folks. So we would also continue to liaise with the law enforcement agencies to finish with their investigations. Like I said, it's going to court. We'll hear the findings and then we can take it up from there. So basically, that was why we came here. The minister herself is on the ground trying to ensure that there is equity in the distribution. And you can see the fisher folks are happy, because in times like this, people want to hoard fuel and sell it for exorbitant prices, etc. So we want to ensure that at least the system is clean and everybody is getting fuel to go to sea. So we would have to wait for the findings of the investigations. The minister is very, very keen. We have a tax and we want to ensure that there's sanity in the system. We have landing beaches that we found culpable. Landing beaches that are found culpable, yes, we have to sanction them. There are some punitive measures that we have to instigate against them. I can name some landing beaches that have suffered the brunt of some of these illegalities. We don't want to take some of these infractions lightly at all. So if they are found culpable, if the investigations are concluded and we realize that, yes, actually the landing beach intended to divert the fuel, of course, we would also make sure we crack the whip.
Now, the growing trend and widespread unethical behavior in various institutions have contributed to a high moral decadence in society, which is having a rippling effect on the growth of the country. This attitude needs to be stopped through education in order to prepare for a progressive future. These are the thoughts of renowned chartered accountant Kwadwo Mpieni Brentro, who was speaking on ethical behavior at the Faculty of Accounting and Finance in collaboration with the UPSA Global Alumni Association Spotlight Series.
Any nation does not require the use of atomic bombs. Neither does it require the use of missiles or chemical weapons. It only requires the lowering the quality of education and allowing cheating in the examination of our students. When you allow cheating, we are finished. What is the result? Now, shall we all read the results? The first one, patients die in the hands of such what? Buildings collapse in the hands of such what? Money is lost in the hands of such economists and all of you. Humanity perish in the hands of such religious scholars. Justice is lost in the hands of such lawyers and judges. Governance is lost in the hands of such legislators. The collapse of education is the collapse of a nation. So you see that when we lack education, we lack wisdom, and the whole society will lack ethics and values. Such a society is bound to fail and, of course, collapse. Do you want to know about Ghana? Let's look at the story of Ghana, our motherland, the country we should protect. This is Ghana. Our legislator is not fighting in the House. Our honorable member is not fighting. Didn't somebody put a blade, alleged to have put blade in his pocket? Didn't a leader of parliament accuse all Supreme Court judges of bribery? What happened? This is Ghana. An apology and a retraction. Now sleeping dogs are lying. We're talking ethics. There was a chop bar underneath the magnificent Pokwase interchange. Somebody went to build a chop bar there. As I make this presentation, some persons have been arrested for disturbing public peace over a party primaries, just primaries. They are fighting. Football games are won by referees and not the players. Have you seen some of the outraging things our one-man church leaders are doing these days? The last time, a video that went viral, a man of God produced a passport from his shoes in Ghana. We need education so that we can open our eyes. Without education, you and I are finished. It is unbelievable, but it's true. The last time somebody who were qualified went to write the IC exams for another friend and was arrested. We need to be careful. Ghanaians still get into the security agencies, and to some of our universities we face security. Even now, because of politics, we can insult any former president and a sitting president. Behind the power of radio, we are saying all kinds of things without any apology. There's no point to talk about our social media platforms. Office romance is now a very common happening. Slave queens are now champions in Ghana. They now have lists. They tell us, we have lists. Oh, if you people don't shut up, we shall release the list. And people will keep quiet. Sex for grace is still alleged to happen in some of our universities in Africa. Some chartered accountants still assist their clients to cook their accounting books. See how our Uber drivers, Bolt, Yango, see how they drive.
We'll take a quick break here. We will return with more stories. Stay with us. Now, some delegates of the Ayawaso North constituency are incensed over the MC's decision to deny a former parliamentary candidate into the voting center. The MC, Amidu Isaka, insists the former parliamentary candidate Alhaji Manaf Alidu Osman is not accredited to be at the voting center and instructed the police to block the former parliamentary candidate from entering. Some of the delegates have threatened to boycott the elections if the former PC is not allowed entry. I'm told my colleague Parker is with us. Parker, what more can you tell us from where you are? All right.
So, Brace, I'm currently at the mother and child here at Mamobi, and just behind me is the voting center where the Electoral Commission is expected to conduct the constituency executive elections for delegate or constituent within the Ayawaso North constituency, particularly for the governing NPP. The process has delayed for just some few minutes over a few disagreements. And I heard you talk about the former PC who's been denied entry. Finally, the matter has been resolved. The MC has been petitioned, and he has finally gained entry or have access to the voting center. The MC is here. Let me just engage him briefly on the security arrangement. You recall that yesterday there was a bit of violence at Bobuashi, and today the police says they have revised their security strategy, and he is the head of the MUSEC here at Ayawaso North constituency. Honorable, thank you very much for your time this morning. I want to know the security arrangement. How is it going to be like? I see delegates have to go through two different phases of scrutiny and screening. Why so?
That is correct, because here Ayawaso North is one of the hotspots in Greater Accra. So, stemming from what happens at the other election centers, like those who held the election yesterday. So we also have to brief our security. So we have the National Police Command reps here. We have Regional Police Command reps here. We have District and then the Divisional Command. So quite a number of security.
It's a heavy security present.
Exactly, because it's a hotspot. So we have to go through the various checkpoints to make sure that you are truly a delegate before you are allowed in.
So persons who are not delegates, persons who perhaps may have been former parliamentary candidates, persons who may be former MCs, wouldn't be given the permission to enter?
Yes, the guidelines provided by the election committee. The last meeting we had was only yesterday night. That's around 9, I think 8:39. So they enforce the guidelines that they gave me, that persons without accreditation must not be allowed in. And then secondly, it's a purely delegate affair. I even mentioned the issue of what former parliamentary candidates say, no, because if we allow the former parliamentary candidates, then we have to allow all other high personalities to come in. Who knows? We don't know what will happen. Because we agreed that there should be no form of any campaign within the election center at all. Because it can bring insecurity. Because you may try to stop one, and then the other two will not allow him to be stopped. So I think the security is very, very high here.
I see. Now, finally for me, I see that the program was expected to start at 9 a.m. It's past 10. They are yet to commence voting. The Electoral Commission officials are ready. They've set up their polling booth and all of that. Why the delay, sir?
When I came, I saw a group of people playing football. No, this is a football park. So quickly, I had to send them away. Maybe that could be one of the factors. And then and then also the late arrival of the accreditation also could be a factor.
So the late arrival
of yes, the difference is only about 1 hour, which is normal in electioneering era.
Right, now finally, for peace, law and order to be maintained here, are you certain that by the close of day, there wouldn't be any violence here at Ayawaso North Constituency?
Yes, that's why as the music chairman, I did not sit in my office to issue command. I've been here since morning, yes, with the police, making sure that there is no state of insecurity. Because of the delay of the, what you call it, the issue of the accreditation. So we have to come out with a strategy. The party hierarchies, they line up to be able to identify those coming. So we started with that before we got the accreditation.
So there will be peace?
I'm sure, absolutely, there will be absolute peace.
Thank you very much. So that is the MCE for the Ayawaso North Constituency there, Alhaji MZ, as he is popularly known. And he is confident that there will be peace for those elections. And Brace, let me say that before I got to Ayawaso North, I was at the Ablekuma North Constituency. There was also heavy police present. In fact, I counted almost about 50 to 60 policemen who have been stationed there. Ablekuma North also has been identified as a hotspot. And based on what happened yesterday, the police doesn't want any surprises, and so they have stationed their men at various vantage points to ensure that there is law and order. The DCOP, Director of Operations at Ghana Police Service, DCOP Mohammed Suraj, when I spoke to him, was clear in his mind that any party member who does not comply with the laid-down regulations or the laid-down procedure will be made to face the law. They will punish any individual irrespective of his party colors or his position. The MP for the area, Sheila Bartels, was also confident that the issue about names that were missing from the album, she claims that has been resolved, and so she's not expecting any kind of agitation from any of the delegates. She is confident that any member whose name has not been captured on the register will be made to vote because they made some arrangement for that. So today the Greater Accra region is organizing 2 elections within these 2 constituencies, Ablekuma North Constituency and Ayawaso North Constituency. Tomorrow they'll continue with about 15 of the constituencies in Accra.
Normally, the 2 areas have been peaceful, unlike yesterday.
Yes, largely, Brace, the 2 areas have been very, very peaceful. I've been there. I have ascertained the situation. Of course, I can tell or say for at the time that I was there at Ablekuma North Constituency. In fact, that election is going on at the old municipal. There's a school there. That's where the election is happening. So the delegates at the time were cooperated. In fact, the arrangement was that the electoral coordinators were going to invite their members within that electoral area. So they'll be mentioning the names of your electoral area, then you bring in your members and they will come and cast their ballot. So if you haven't heard your name or you've not been called, you have no business being within the perimeters of the voting center. That was the situation at the Ablekuma North Constituency. Here, the MC is saying that every delegate must show proof of accreditation before you gain access to the voting center. And as you can see, it's all said they are now moving gradually to the tent. And so largely, I can say that this morning it's been peaceful, and the MC is clear in his mind that the peace will not only be peculiar to this very moment, but the peace will run through the day, and there will be an incident-free today here at Mamobi, particularly the Ayawaso North constituency.
Thank you very much, Parker. So moving on to other stories. Yesterday, 28th April, marked exactly 30 years since the 1992 Constitution came into being as a fundamental law of the land. In spite of the ability of the Constitution in dramatic democratic dispensation over the years, some experts have called for its review, citing a couple of deficiencies. Mao Sinumo has this report.
Celebrating the Constitution Week, which we at the NCCE instituted in 2001, we are trying to go back to revisit this agenda of constitutional reform, because several attempts have been made. We have received several calls from people from all walks of life, politicians, including people in government. We have had people in opposition. We have had public servants, people belonging to civil society groups, faith-based organizations, and you can just mention them, calling for a review of the Constitution. We need to whip up the enthusiasm of the general public to revisit it and to ask ourselves this critical question about whether or not we are ready for a reform. But this notwithstanding, the people of Ghana should uphold the Constitution in its current form. We should not get frustrated over the kind of ambiguities, the kind of deficit that we are talking about, and throw our hands out there in despair, because the Constitution has served us for 30 years. It has never ever happened in the history of this country. So we may be hastening slowly as a nation for a complete review of the Constitution, but it may be a good cause. And we think we are setting a good agenda that will rally everybody in the country around this agenda of constitutional reform, which must be initiated by government and which must conclusively end to translate into a new provision in the Constitution that will address the kind of complaints that we are getting from the public. And that is why we are here. So we are going to do a big lecture in Accra to bring all the brains about constitutionalism to deliberate on the matter, and to also do other activities across the country to also get the public interested in it, and to get it, to get the attention of the powers that be.
Take a quick break. We'll return with business.
Welcome to Business here on News Desk. My name is Beverly Broom. With the advancement of technology and semantic web, the Ghana Unity DAO, in partnership with Harmony One Vision, is working to bridge the unemployment gap with its sensitization program on Web3. The move is also aimed at creating opportunities for the youth to innovate ways to establish their own businesses.
Semantic Web, known popularly as Web3, is an extension of the World Wide Web through standards set by the World Wide Web Consortium. The goal of the Semantic Web is to make internet data machine readable. At a panel discussion hosted by the Ghana Unity DAO, a digital native of entrepreneurs delved into how Africans can take advantage of the introduction of Web3 at all sectors. Here is the head of governor for Ghana Unity DAO, Del Titus Bewa.
So Web3, in simple sense, is the next phase of the internet, right? In every industry, things go through cycles. We are at a precipice where the internet is going through another cycle. In many industries, I feel that Africa as a whole missed out. And so as a passionate African, I think it's important that our people get to know these things. And that's why I personally have made a push alongside my partners to see how we can basically introduce and educate people on Web3. Ghana Unity DAO is basically a resource. It's an incubator for people in this space. The youth is a targeted market. It does not mean that people that are not youthful cannot be targeted, but what it does mean is that we feel the youth are the most precious aspect of our civilization on the continent, and we need to empower them.
Speaking at the event, co-founder of Harmony One, Ziwang, emphasized the need for Web3 in Ghana.
This question can be answered in the thing about inputs and outputs. In terms of inputs, I think Africa and Ghana specifically have tremendous amount of vitality in terms of youth, the population, natural resources, and also culture. But the output there is actually the bridge, which is Web3. The idea there is for Web3 to actually create a true economic engine that's about wealth creation. But on the other side, the output, the bridge on the other side is about ownership. How do you enable millions of youth, the millions of participants in Web3, to have a true sense of ownership in the wealth they're creating?
The semantic web provides a common framework that allows data to be shared and reused across applications, enterprises, and community boundaries. It is a collaborative effort led by W3C with participation from a large number of researchers and industrial players.
As Ghana marks Girls in ICT Day, females from selected tertiary and second cycle schools have been exposed to the operations of the Accra Digital Centre's Accra Transformation Hub. The move is to get beneficiaries abreast with happenings at the center and take advantage of entrepreneurship skills that digital has to offer. Here's a report.
Under the theme Access and Safety, this year's Girls in ICT Day is focused on accessibility and safety of digital platforms. According to the Accra Digital Center and its partners, the idea of exposing the girls to its operations will get them to understand some key opportunities available. Here is Ivy Lawson, Executive Director at the Digital Transformation Hub, explaining to Joy Business.
To expose them to the Accra Digital Center, we are going to tour the center because most Ghanaian girls don't know the center. They don't know what they could do with the digital space. We have the tech lab. They do a lot of things. They do prototypes, they do digital marketing, they do a lot of training. And we are here because we want to start a journey with the public schools. And we want to do accelerator for students, technology accelerator for students.
Ivy Lawson, however, assured that male-led businesses can take advantage of the opportunities at the hub.
International children, for diversity, for equity, for inclusion. That is why we created the Digital Transformation Hub. And at the hub, you can learn coding, you can learn robotics, you can learn animation. We do C++, we do almost all the programming, and we also let the girls or the boys know that we have arts. Arts is not a crime. When you learn arts, you can dance and make all the money in the world, but do it according to the rules.
That's all for business here, but you can get more business stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business.
Welcome back to the news desk here, and it's time for us to bring you tech trends, and the man himself, Spikey, joins me in studio. Spike, hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Very well.
Good. Let's start off with Twitter.
Yes.
This one says Twitter adds some 30 million users in run-up to Musk sale. What does it mean?
So when Musk agreed, when the Twitter board agreed,
so we're talking about Elon Musk here.
Yes.
Okay.
When they agreed to sell Twitter to Elon Musk, they realized that they had gotten 30 million new subscribers, 30 million new users to the platform.
Okay.
Which it's quite interesting because a lot of people expected that it would impact Twitter negatively. But it seems that people are excited for what Elon Musk may bring to Twitter, vis-a-vis the free speech proposal he has. And also because he's just a very random guy. The guy can just do anything. So everybody's looking forward to what can happen. And now those who've not really been on Twitter because the space is a bit, different and restrictive for them, because on Facebook you can write as much as you want, on LinkedIn, but on Twitter you're limited to 280 characters and you have to create a thread, and people find it difficult to navigate around it. But they expect that there may be some changes given that Elon Musk is now Twitter's new boss.
But if you open it to him, won't it affect Twitter and the sort of things that makes it distinctive from the rest?
That's the thing. What makes it distinctive has not exactly made it profitable. And Twitter has not been a good competitor in the social media space when it comes to revenue. You would see that TikTok is growing massively, Facebook, Instagram, and all that, and Twitter is still way there at the bottom. Although it's a very influential platform, but it doesn't seem to have, making enough money profit, and they seem to think that Musk would make a difference.
So Elon Musk was just bragging when he said he was going to delete Twitter.
It was just
Anyway, but Musk himself has sold almost $4 billion worth of his Tesla shares.
Yes. So yes, there's rumors that it's probably to help him settle the deal with Twitter, because $44 billion is a lot of money.
But he's worth $219 billion.
273. Almost 300 billion, yeah. But that's his worth.
Okay, you consider all his assets.
All his assets, yes. Okay. So he may have to liquidate certain things. And $4 billion worth of Tesla shares is part of those assets. So it could have come from there. I did read somewhere that he got funding from some financial institutions and stuff like that. So all that put together comes to 44 billion, and he will just snag Twitter and do whatever he wants with it.
He says he's going to do a lot with Twitter. But when I heard that he was going to delete it, I said, wow, 44 billion and to delete it.
Just kidding.
Anyway, people are saying that Trump may probably come back, but others say no.
He's got his own social media platform now, Truth Social.
But that's not popular.
Yeah. But I don't think Donald Trump is even relevant anymore. Like, if Donald Trump even comes back to Twitter, there's nothing he's going to do that's going to stir the social media ocean enough. He's not going to cause any waves. So I don't think people should even be bothered about Trump coming back. I mean,
in an interview, he said he was not going to come back, but praised Elon Musk for the bravery he's shown in. Anyway, there's something that is around us, but not many people know about it. The Airbnb thing. Many people don't know, but we're told Airbnb says staffers can work remotely forever if they want.
So Airbnb, which is like the Uber of houses. So if you want to get an apartment, you download the app, find an apartment nearby, check the pricing, and then you get in there and you're paying to the service. So just like they say, Uber has no cars, but it owns a taxi business. Airbnb has no hotels or houses, but it owns a housing business. And Airbnb's CEO is saying that its staff can work remotely forever, which is actually good news. I mean, when you think about it, remote work. It's the future. You should have been at home, right now, just doing the show. And I'll also be home and we're remotely
We're doing the show.
We're doing the show. Technology is making it possible.
One thing is that during the height of COVID, a lot of us, tried this and it worked.
It did.
You could stay in your house and do what we're doing in studio. So it looks like
a lot of works. I mean, during the COVID, like you mentioned, the pandemic, I helped a lot of companies migrate to remote work, and the beauty about this whole thing was they saved a lot of money in electricity cost and rent cost, and even in internet cost, because people come to the internet, the office, and use the internet to download movies. So now that they're home, will they use their home internet for that? Obviously not. But like the CEO said, he knows a lot of companies are tempted, but they don't want to do it. The reason why he jumped to do it is because he trusts his workers. So if your company is not letting you work remotely, it's because they don't trust you. When you're at home, you work. So gain the trust of your company, and I'm sure they'll tell you work remotely forever.
All right, Spiky, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right then, so it's still the news desk. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Stay on there. Before we go, they came, they saw, they conquered, and that was how Shama Senior High School became champions of the APSA Science and Math Quiz Western Zone Championship. Shama Senior High School earlier denied host and one-time winners of the National Science and Math Quiz, Ghana Senior Technical School, an opportunity on the national stage after beating them during the regional qualification contest. Against all odds, they beat the 2021 zonal title holders, Archbishop Porter Girls, and St. John's SHS to become the new APSA NSMQ Western Zone champions. Maxwell Agbagba has more from Takrady.
So, Shama Senior High School, this is how they choose to celebrate. Debutant Shama Senior High School managed to beat St. John's, also beat Archbishop Porter Girls to win the title as Western Zone of Champions. This man behind me, this gentleman and ladies behind me cannot control their emotions. It's full of joy and excitement, for them. Earlier, they beat Ghana Secondary Technical School to qualify to the next stage. Let's find out from them what it is like at this point. Hi. Okay.
We are very excited and we won this one and we'll be challenging the other schools and nationals.
Oh, come on. We didn't expect this. We weren't expecting this, and God has been miraculous to us, and we say glory be to God.
Okay.
We are most grateful. That is what we say to God. We are most grateful. That is all.
Give back to win.
See, relax. Evergreen, Shas, the icons, relax, and expect more from us.
What should we expect in a national competition?
Just expect the best. Nothing but the best.
My name is Isaac Kwame Mensa, popularly known as Balu. I promise to my house, the name of the house is Asimeku. I told them that this year, our batch, we will win the National Science and Maths. We did it again.
What should we expect in a national competition?
Tell those there, they came to schools. Yeah, we are coming.
Hi, contestants, tell me.
Actually, it's all good. Everything we did, we just thought we were doing our best, but it turns out God actually had better plans. It was just good.
The best.
Expect the very best. Shama SHS, we are coming like fire.
Coming like fire.
Yeah, coming like fire.
Before we started the zonal championship, we told the other schools in Western region to prepare for Shama because we were coming and we delivered. Now we are making another promise.
Thank you.
All the other schools prepare for Shama because we are coming for the national championship and we are not stopping till we get it. That's all we do.
The APSA Western Zonal Championship just ended. We have a champion, and that champion, Shama Senior High School, they are the winners for the Western Zone APSA Championship. Well, we're lucky to have with us here Samuel Ajo. He's a coordinator for the National Science and Maths Quiz. We're here to find out from him what it was like, the qualification contest, and then the APSA Zonal Championship here in the Western region. You're welcome to join.
Thank you.
Great. You've seen the contest, Shama Senior High School, they are winners for the APSA Western Zone Championship. Are you surprised?
Well, I would say I am surprised in the sense that coming to this competition for 2022, having known them over the years, we were expecting them to live up to this kind of lift up their game in this manner. In actual fact, they did extremely well. I mean, judging from what they did right from the qualifiers. The qualifiers, they met a stiff opposition in the form of GSTS and other schools, and naturally we all felt that it was going to be a contest between GSTS and Shama, and of course we believed that GSTS was going to walk away with the trophy or with qualification. But to our surprise, Shama put up a splendid performance and beating GSTS very well. I mean, I think 42-30, which was a resounding beating that they gave to GSTS. And GSTS indeed acknowledged that, look, these guys have come along and they have proved their mettle. Then judging, moving on to that, onto having qualified, then we have to move on to the Absa Bank Western Zone Zonal Championship. Then again, they continued their feat, where they also met Secondary College, who also won massively in their qualifying contest with 52 points.
And that's it for our bulletin for you today. There's more on myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo Brice. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Good morning.